This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's
Hello,
react.
and welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches Hannah Alonzo's Stanley Cup Influencer Insanity Part 2 Spooky Edition. I know that was a really long intro. I have probably broken this up because it's very long. It would have been like 2 hours if I had left it in the way it was. So I've broken this up. Let me know what you guys think so far about this series that I'm doing with, I'm not doing it with Hannah, I'm doing it off of Hannah. I'll be honest. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking so far. If you want like the full intro and everything, I highly recommend going back and watching the beginning of the first video. I'm not going to spend too long with a preamble on this one. We're just going to jump in and finish it off. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button if you would. And again, if you're watching the second half of this, you might as well subscribe. So here we are. I do have her sped up to time and a quarter, and yeah, and that's it. I just want to get into this and finish this off. So onward we go. Sorry for the choppy intro and the choppy transition.
And here's the part in the video that I'm probably the most passionate about, where we talk about the impact this phenomenon is having as it trickles down to our children. I'm going to show you a few clips of kids getting Stanley Cups for Christmas this year, and even though I'm going to be blurring their faces heavily to protect their privacy, pay attention to their reactions.
It's a Stanley! It's the cutest color! Oh my gosh,
Look, okay, let's not sit here and pretend like we didn't all have some item when we were this age that we just had to have, and our parents bent over backwards to go get for us, and we just had a conniption fit over. Okay, we all had something that we had to have for whatever reason. Maybe it was because it was popular, maybe it was because we were obsessed with it. Whatever it was, if our parents managed to get it for us and gave it to us as a gift, especially around Christmas, we did this, right? We did this. All of us did this. So let's not sit here and judge these kids as if this is a brand new thing that's occurring. This has always happened. People have always gotten excited about something, right? This would be like making fun of people for crying when they get engagement rings. It's just what we do. We get excited when we get something that we wanted for a very long time. And a lot of people, when they get emotional, they cry. Even guys do it, right? Anyway.
He got me so much! What is this? Yes! This is what they get. Oh my god! Two!
Okay, I think it's annoying, especially this one, but it's cute. I mean, this is what people do. Yeah. A baby Stanley.
Oh my
That's pretty. I'll hand Stanley this. The colors are pretty. They do have pretty colors.
Is it for me?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh no, what'd you get?
Nolan, a rock collection.
What is it?
Oh my god!
You hear brother in the background. No way! A rock collection! This is what I'm talking about, okay? I don't know how old her brother is, but he very much wanted that rock collection, okay?
A water bottle.
And her brother is a water bottle. Look, man, I got a rock collection. You got a water bottle. Those are siblings right there.
Oh my god!
Dude, it's a cup.
It's a cup, the brother says.
This is so nice! It's 40
It's a cup.
I want it!
It's a cup, dude.
It's a cup, dude.
You don't know how much this means to me! This is amazing!
Okay, seriously, the brother. It's a cup, dude. And right there, that kind of tells me this is an age thing. This is just an age thing, right? It does affect females more than it does males, just because like women are socialized to be like this, unfortunately. If the brother had been socialized to be like, there's probably something that brother wants this badly. And if his parents got it for him, he would be reacting fairly similarly to this, right? Anyway.
Thank you!
These kids are losing their composure over these cups. They are damaging their vocal cords with how high they're screaming about them. And it actually is.
They want it because it's popular. They want it because they like it. They want it because it lets them fit in with their friends, or it lets them gloat over their friends for whatever reason they want it. It's very important to them, right? I don't think we should be judging these kids because they want this item so badly, especially knowing that these items will rotate through time. There will become a time not too soon, not too far in the future, when no one will give a shit about these Stanley Cups, right? And these kids won't care about their Stanley Cups anymore. It'll be something else. It'll be sparkly pink pom-poms for your hair. And they will be just as excited to get sparkly pink pom-poms for their hair at Christmas as they were to get this fucking Stanley Cup, all right? I get what she means when she's saying it's distressing to see our children this obsessed with an object, because the implications are they desire this object because it allows them to fit in, or it allows them to be one of the cool kids, or it gives them some kind of social status. The adult women are not any better. They just don't cry when they get these things. I do understand the idea that that's distressing, because we like to think that our children are above that, or we like to think that we can teach our kids to be individual thinkers, rugged individualism here in the United States. You're not like everyone else. You think differently and you have different opinions and you don't like the same things as all the other girls. We like to think that we're raising our kids to be individuals, but the reality of the situation is humans are pack animals. We like to fit in. And the younger we are and the less secure we are in our own individuality, the more we like to fit in, right? We're still trying to figure out who we are. So that's why this shit affects younger people more than it. You don't see any 50-year-olds on here, do you? You don't see a 50-year-old, maybe there is one, but you don't see a 50-year-old woman on here having a conniption fit because she's got a Stanley Cup for Christmas, right? You don't see that because the 50-year-old does not care. Maybe she does. There's that woman out there somewhere that does. But for the most part, they don't give a damn, right? They're going to go drink water out of whatever cup they've got in the kitchen, because you don't need a Stanley Cup to drink water. Especially when you're working from home. Anyway. But you do see most of these women that she's shown, they can't be older than 35. They really can't be. If they're pushing 40, they're like just pushing 40, right? So of course, it's these young girls, it's these young women who are, God, I'm so old, I'm saying young women. Anyway, but it's the younger generation of the time. Right? I'm not even going to be here and be like, oh, it's Gen Z and Gen Alpha and their stupid Stanley Cups. We all had something, all right? It's happened with every generation. You probably can recall whatever it was that you desperately had to have. I guess that's my point. We are, at our core, even when we're 50, we're still pack animals. We still want to be part of a group. We still want to fit in. It's so much stronger of a desire when we are young, especially if we feel awkward to begin with, which you did when you were that age because you were, right? It's important at that age. I don't think anybody in any of these clips has done anything wrong, and I don't think these girls should be like, oh my God. They're kids. This is what they do. The brother's going, it's a cup. That's how the rest of us are reacting. But for her, yeah, it's a cup. It's a Stanley Cup, right? Anyway, onward.
It is really cute to see them getting so excited and so genuinely happy for these cups. That part of it is heartwarming. You can tell that it really means a lot to them. And I made this short compilation, but if you do go and watch the full-length clips, in a lot of them, you'll hear the adults in the background going, for a cup? All this for a cup? It's just a cup. In that last clip, I think it was a sibling sitting on the couch behind her. He was like, what is going on? You can tell that the dads and the grandpas and the brothers are just as confused, which gives me hope for humanity that other people can see how ridiculous this is too. But what makes these clips chilling for me.
Yeah, but remember, listen to what she just said. The dads and the brothers are looking at that and thinking it's ridiculous. Not the mothers, the older sisters. Do you hear it? Do you hear what's being said without being said? I don't even think Hannah knows she's doing it, honestly. And this is one of the few points where I'm just like, oh my God. Let's step back for a second. These kids aren't influencers, so I don't need to hold them to a higher standard, unlike the woman who is working from home and drinking from a Stanley Cup. You don't need to do that. Anyway, these are just kids. They have been influenced, yes, most definitely. And they have bugged the fuck out of their parents until their parents are like, fine, and bought them a Stanley Cup, yes? Because they're not so expensive that the average person can't afford $45, right? Would I do it? No. Well, I don't know. Maybe now I would, because now I'm just curious. But anyway, my point is, they're not so expensive that for a birthday or a Christmas gift, usually something where you're going to overspend a little bit of money anyway, they're not so expensive that they couldn't be a specialty gift, right? So I'm sure there's probably a lot of kids her age that got Stanley Cups this past Christmas or are getting them for their birthdays because they're an affordable splurge. But I'm not going to hold these kids to some weird high standard because they're not influencers. Some of them are, but none of these girls were. But again, these are all girls. Everybody that she's talked about in this video, they've all been women. If there are men, they're not being talked about, or they don't exist. So it's not lost on me that this is predominantly a female-influenced and female-driven fad, right? And there does tend to be problems in society, I will call it out. If it's heavily or predominantly female, then for whatever reason, it's lesser than, or it's weird, or it doesn't have value, or you shouldn't be that wrapped up in it. Like, you shouldn't care this much about a Stanley Cup. If it was a guy, if it was mostly a man thing, if men were the ones who were going gaga over these Stanley Cups, would I not have to be worried about should I not be concerned about them then? Like, should I be making fun of the men like this? I don't think it would happen. But that's me.
Me is that the kids are not freaking out because they're so excited to stay hydrated. It's not just a cup.
That's
it's
true.
far, far more than that. They are getting so
It's a Stanley Cup.
genuinely excited because they've just been accepted into the cool kids club. They now get to take this Stanley Cup to school and carry it around as a physical symbol of popularity among their peers. I saw this New York
I don't know if popularity is the word, but it's definitely a physical symbol that they fit in. This is the New York Post, by the way. I would not go to them for any kind of anything. So just, in the future, if you guys want to use the New York Post, not the one you think it is. This is a rag.
Post article the other day titled "Middle Schoolers Are Being Bullied for Not Having Stanley Tumblers." A 13-year-old girl named Dahlia wasn't the popular girl at her Dallas middle school, having been the new girl at school last year. But when
The fact that it's coming from New York Post really makes me... I'm not saying this doesn't happen. It's just the New York Post is not reliable, and they are known for making shit up. So, just putting that out there. This is not a great source. Does she link her sources? Better chapters. Yes, she does. There it is. Yeah, the New York this New York Post is not the New York Post you're thinking it is.
When she walked into school with her Stanley Cup, all of a sudden she was no longer invisible. Every day when I get into school at like 7:45 a.m., everybody comes over to me like, "Oh my god, I like your Stanley," or "It's so cool, I want a Stanley just like yours." It makes me feel like I'm famous and being swarmed by paparazzi. Holding a Stanley Cup in your hand at school today is a complete sign of popularity, trendiness, and wealth among kids. Here's a video of a mom telling us what happened to her daughter when she went to school after Christmas with a quote-unquote fake Stanley.
Okay, this I do give a little bit more credence to, only because, right?
I don't post a lot of controversial content on my page. I usually like to keep things pretty fun, pretty lighthearted. I do a lot of voiceover content. With that being said, I'm going to keep this pretty short and sweet. This is the cup that we got our daughter for Christmas. This is not a Stanley. This is a $9.98 Walmart cup that she said she thought was cute. She is 9 years old.
Looks like Lisa Frank. I would like that cup. Why are these kids carrying these cups around at school? Like, why are these at school to begin with? You don't need this kind of hydration. It's fine.
On the second day back to school after Christmas break, she comes home. She's not crying. She's just upset. The girls, all the other girls in her grade, I'm not saying all, maybe she said 9, 10 of them, all got Stanleys for Christmas. And they made sure to let her know that this is not a real Stanley, that this is fake and it's not as cool. So.
God, I remember this shit. Again, Guess jeans. It used to be a thing, man, and if you weren't wearing Guess, you weren't cool, and the kids would let you know, because kids are assholes. And I remember not having Guess jeans. And I don't care anymore. And I don't think I cared then. But now I have like this... I have this grudge against Guess. For no reason other than that. So clearly it had an impact on me, but... Still, I'm just saying. This has happened to all of us. Especially if you're female. Especially if you're female. This has happened to all of us.
She comes home, she's upset, she asks if she can have a real Stanley. Do I think that a 9-year-old needs a Stanley? No. Do I have one? Yes, I have one. I don't have 50 Stanleys in all different colors. I'm not going to Target and fighting other women or moms.
Okay, you don't think the kid needs a Stanley, but you do think the kid needs a thermal mug to carry around at school? So what's the difference? Other than the price. That cup was probably like $2. The Stanley, again, $45. So other than price, what difference does it make? You're still buying your kid a thermal cup to carry around at school. She's 9.
Moms to try and get the new Valentine's Day stamp. I have one. So that being said, before you come at me, if you're a mom, if you're a parent, if you can do something to keep your child from getting made fun of, to help fit in, you're going to do it. So we went and bought her a 30-ounce Stanley. In our area, at our local Ace Hardware, these are $35. Can we afford to buy her a Stanley? Yes. Did I think that she needed one? No. Apparently, I've been proven wrong by the children in our school that are making fun of her for not having a real name brand Stanley. But this doesn't start with the kids. This starts with us. This starts with parents, with moms. What are we teaching our kids? You better believe that if our 9-year-old daughter came home and somehow we found out that she made fun of another girl at school for not having something name brand, whether it's a Stanley, Lululemon, Uggs, I don't care what it is, we would be calling the family. We would be making
Uggs. There we go. Uggs. That was a thing. Everybody had to have Uggs. Uggs this, Uggs that. What are those other shoes? Those ones made out of plastic. Nobody likes them anymore. They're kind of a joke. What were those? Anyway.
Her write a note to apologize. We would make her apologize in person because that's not what we do in this household. And that's what we need to be teaching our kids. It does not matter. It's great. If you want to have name brand things and you can afford name brand nice things, that's great. We are fortunate enough that we can afford name brand things. But once again, we're trying to teach our kids that they don't necessarily need that. Things are earned. You have to work.
I mean, okay. This woman's mad, and I understand, and I get her. And I also understand that she says, you're going to do what you can to keep your kid from getting bullied at school. Yes. And if that means buying the Stanley Cup, that's what it meant. But that's the real world versus this idealized world where she's like, we teach our kids that they don't need this kind of crap. You didn't, though. You went and bought the cup anyway. So you are teaching your kids that they kind of need these items in order to fit in, right? Also, why does your 9-year-old have a fucking thermos? Like, why do they have that anyway? But yeah, even this woman's pointing out it doesn't matter what it is, the Uggs, the Luluros, it's now thermos. These things cycle. They're gonna come and go. This kid needs a Stanley this year to not get made fun of. Next year it's gonna be dungarees. I don't know, I'm making shit up, but that's my point. I get that this woman wants to be, you know, my kids, we need to teach our kids that they don't need these things. Well, they don't, but they do. Because as much as humans are pack animals, kids are really pack animals. They really are pack animals, okay? I know you guys love your kids. You just need to understand. Your kids are assholes, and they're pack animals.
Work for things in your life. Not everything is just going to be handed to you. But do I also not want to see my daughter?
Says the woman who just bought her kid a Stanley. She's aware of it, okay? She is aware. It's just, you know.
Being left out or made fun of because she doesn't have the name brand things. That's how I grew up. No disrespect to my parents, but we didn't have those things. I was made fun of. I remember the first time that my mom found me a limited 2 bathing suit at Goodwill, and I felt so good to have that name brand clothing. I know now.
God, the limited 2.
Now, as an adult, that shouldn't have meant something, but it did, because it made me feel like I fit in. Even though
yes,
we are
exactly.
trying to teach our kids to be unique and to be themselves, and I'm all for that. I am not going to, if my daughter asks for something to help fit in with the kids at school, and she feels cool and it's something that she really wants, and I can do that for her, I'm going to. But we have got to teach our kids to not make other kids feel inferior for not having the things that they have. That's it. That's where it starts, and it starts with us as parents.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong. She's really not. The problem is you only have control of your kids while they're within your sphere of influence. Once they're outside of your sphere of influence, you just gotta kind of hope that they're gonna hang on to whatever it was that you taught them and not give in to peer pressure. Which I got news for you. You know, I'm not saying kids are like terrible people. They're just, you know, they're assholes. They don't have filters. They're still kids, right? And because they're kids, they're blunt. They say it like it is. They bully each other to fit in. They're like survival of the fittest. Lord of the Flies is kind of a thing. You know, it's that kind of a situation. Yes, buying your kid whatever they need to fit in so they don't get bullied, whatever. It's fine. You do what you got to do, but the kid's going to get made fun of this year for not having a Stanley. She's going to get made fun of next year for not having whatever that thing is. You yourself are here saying, when I got a used bathing suit from Goodwill that came from the Limited too. Remember when the Limited was a thing? You're old. But even she was like, I felt really special. It made me feel special because I felt like I fit in. It's not just the kids bullying her daughter for not having the Stanley. The daughter herself wants to have that item because it makes her feel like she fits in, whether she does or not. She may never fit in with these girls. These girls may just be like the burn book mean girls, right? She's never going to fit in. But because she now has a Stanley, it's one less thing that she doesn't stick out because of, right?
And rant.
Yeah, I completely see where she's coming from. This kind of thing puts parents in such a difficult position because on one hand, you want to teach your kids that material possessions do.
And again, it is not lost on me that these are all women and girls. I don't think I can emphasize that enough. It's not the boys at school were bullying her because she didn't have a Stanley. No. The girls at school were bullying her because she didn't have a Stanley. It's important, these things.
Do not define you, but you also don't want your child to be ostracized at school because they don't have the trendy water cup. I have a master's in elementary education. I have worked in elementary schools. I have seen this thing firsthand. Love them so much, but kids are brutal. They are ruthless. They will bully other children over something as trivial as a water cup. It's a terribly sad reality, and I wish it wasn't that way, and teachers are doing the best they can to mitigate that kind of behavior, but kids will find a way to make your child feel awful if they don't have the hottest, newest thing. I can completely understand why a parent would just pay the $45 if they can afford it to get their kid a Stanley Cup, if that means that their child gets immunity from bullying at school. And the fact that this is even happening at all is so deeply upsetting. But my ultimate question as I'm watching this is, why do 9-year-olds know that Stanleys are trendy? How do they even know what a Stanley is at all? Why are kids bullying each other over this? My assumption, and really the only assumption I think you can make, is that these kids must have access to social media and they must have been exposed to this influencer culture. And in my
Duh. Your literal shtick is... Okay, look. TikTok wasn't made for adults. TikTok was aimed at children. And there you go. And I mean, how many kids still think PewDiePie is cool? I'm just pointing out. Influencers can be rather old and still be influencing much younger generations, right? These kids probably aren't watching other kids their age as influencers on social media with Stanley Cups. They're probably seeing whoever their favorite creator is at the time, Alexandra Rodriguez, and her Stanley Cup, right? For whatever reason. Let's just run with that. I don't think Anna has a Stanley, but let's pretend like she did. People are watching Anna with her Stanley Cup, and these kids are like, oh, I like Anna. I want to be like Anna. I need a Stanley Cup in order to look and be like Anna. And then they can walk around with their Stanley Cup and be like, yes, I am Anna 2.0. God help us all. But my point is, yeah, they're getting this from social media, and they're getting it from older influencers. They're probably not getting it from kids their own age. Now, once it starts trickling into the schools and why these kids are carrying these fucking things around at school, that blows my mind. But anyway, once they start seeing everybody else at school have one, then they're going to start feeling weird if they don't have one, right?
opinion, at far too young of an age. Maybe not all of the kids are on social media, but there's definitely some of them. How would they know that Stanleys are cool? This couple
I guarantee every one of these kids is on social media.
was popularized by bloggers and social media influencers, so how are the kids learning that they're so trendy if they're not seeing it online? It only takes a few kids whose parents let them be on Instagram and TikTok and they discover that Stanleys are cool, and then they bring that knowledge to school and it spreads like wildfire. So I'm not saying every 9-year-old has Instagram these days or something. God, I hope not.
Probably.
But it really only takes like 1, maybe 2 kids in the classroom or within the grade level to catch wind of something like this, and before you know it, all of their peers have it because somehow it's gotten out that this is the thing you need to have if you want to fit in. The thought of that is so disturbing to me, that children as young as 9 want this water cup so badly because they saw it on TikTok or something.
Why do you act like a 9-year-old is like too pure and innocent to have desires like this? I mean, yeah, they're not having like adult desires, but there's no reason why they can't want to fit in. There's no reason why they can't want nice things. I mean, you still know the difference between like used and new when you're 9, and when you're 9 you don't understand why you need to have used over new. You just know that everybody else has new, I want new. That's all it takes. Like, why are we acting like 9-year-olds are like cherubs or something? I don't know. You should not be shocked that 9-year-olds are doing this. You should not be shocked that a 6-year-old knows this. Maybe a 5-year-old, 6 years old, they probably already know. Like, everybody's carrying around Cabbage Patch lunch boxes. I want a Cabbage Patch lunchbox. Everybody else has one. You know, it's that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be complicated, right? You even said it yourself. These kids are getting influenced. If even like 2 or 3 of these kids are getting influenced, they go to school, they've got their Stanleys, and they're the cool kids at school, and they've got a Stanley, that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
I know that trends among kids come and go all the time, and they've been around for as long as any of us can remember. And when it's not a Stanley Cup, it's going to be something else. Maybe in the past,
Exactly.
trends developed based on what you saw in a catalog, or what was in the commercials on TV, or what
Which is essentially the same thing as social media.
was in the store windows as you walk down the mall. But it's the fact that these cups gain their popularity on social media specifically, and now kids are going crazy for them, that is so concerning to me. And
This is my problem with the social media. Oh my god, social media. Magazines, commercials, movies, television shows, music videos. It's always been something. And they're normally targeting women. It's not new. It's just digital now. That's it. And because it's digital, it's a whole lot easier to get a hold of. I'll give you that. But television has existed for all of my generation, right? So from Gen X down, we've always had access to movies and television. You know, we've always had access to magazines. Social media is just the new television, the new movie, the new magazine.
a 40-ounce water tumbler is not a product marketed towards kids. This is not
It is now.
something that kids would typically care about. These tumblers are gigantic. They are as big as the children themselves. They are not intended for kids. These are the kinds of water bottles meant for kids, not these. They're huge. They're impractical for small children to be carrying around, especially when they're filled with 40 ounces of fluid. Kids aren't seeing Stanley Cups on their kids' TV show commercials. They're not seeing them in the kids section of stores. No, they're seeing them on social media. Do you think that these kids from all over the country would be asking for a Stanley Cup for Christmas 2023 if social media didn't exist? Personally, I don't think they would. It's not a kid's product. They would have no exposure to it. It is a very bizarre dystopian phenomenon that I think speaks to the larger issue of children having access to social media at younger and younger ages. There's a whole other thing going on right now where kids are flocking to Sephora stores to buy high-end skincare products.
Okay, these Sephora kids, that's the parents. End of discussion. No, that's the parents. That's the parents.
And it's the exact same situation happening there too. How do these children know about popular skincare brands made for adults? Why are 10-year-olds asking?
The argument is, why do they know? How do these kids know that these skincare products even exist? That's fair. Yeah, they're getting that off of social media. But the parents should be like, you don't need skincare right now. You just need to wash your face and put a moisturizer on when you're done.
Asking for anti-aging skincare for Christmas. But again, I think it all comes down to access to social media and how effective influencers are at making something look desirable and encouraging people of all ages to want to buy it. There's a few more bizarre things I've seen surrounding Stanley's popularity that I wanted to make sure I included in this video. One of them is that there's a whole corner of the internet where influencers are creating videos of just them unboxing their Stanleys. That's literally the whole video. They created a
The way these are cut, that they flash like that, they're like watching a strobe light. It's really hard to watch.
piece of content surrounding taking this cup out of its packaging. Why though? What's the purpose of that other than to create
Unboxing videos have been around since the internet. Like, there's unboxing videos for tech. There's people who unbox cell phones and turn them on. And that's it. They don't use them. They just unbox them and turn them on. Like, there's unboxing videos. Those have been around for a long time.
hype around a material product other than to show off that it's something you obtained and something that you think is worth having. This is exactly what influencing
That is true.
is. Influencers are making these kinds of videos because this is a product that they're able to earn a commission on if they use their affiliate links. So they can make a whole
True.
video unboxing their Stanley, therefore implying that it's something worth purchasing to hopefully
How big is this damn Stanley Cup, lady? This is like bigger than your head.
tempt their followers to buy it. And with that being said, I just have to wonder how much of the Stanley hype is organic in the sense that it is a truly incredible cup, the best of its kind on the market, and it's life-changing quality, and this is a genuine recommendation, or is it being showcased so much in influencer content because there's earning potential for them? Influencers know that it's the most sought-after product on the market right now, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Which also means as soon as the influencers realize that Stanley's not the new it thing and that they could spend their time and make more money hawking something new, they're gonna switch over to that. It's just the way it is.
If they don't actually care too much for the cup personally, but they know they can make a commission on it if they hop on the bandwagon to promote it to their followers. Speaking of earning potential, it's not just the cups that are gaining in popularity. Now there's a variety of accessories that you can buy for your Stanley too.
The accessories blow me away. But here we go.
Here's one video that features a lot of the most popular accessories I've been seeing. There's rubber boots made to fit them so they don't scuff and so they don't clink when you set them down. There's little straw caps to prevent the top of your straw from being exposed to the air. These silicone trays that fit on the top of your cup so you can carry around snacks too. These insulated sleeves with the strap so you can wear your Stanley like a crossbody bag. Then there's these pouches.
Why do you need an insulated sleeve for an insulated cup? That makes no sense. The whole point of the cup is that it's insulated. You don't need to insulate the insulated cup. All right, whatever. Keep going.
Pouches that you can strap onto them to make it like a little grab and go purse situation. And finally,
I mean, if you're going to carry the stupid cup around anyway, you might as well.
they make these charms that you can hang from the handle too. This is not an all-encompassing video of every Stanley accessory that exists out there. Etsy is overflowing with them, which that's important to point out too. These are not Stanley brand accessories. These are accessories made by independent creators and distributors. You can find them on Amazon.
Who know a mark when they see one. The thing with the accessories is, all right, I remember, I don't think phones really have those much anymore, but I remember when the cell phone still had the headphone jack, and it was really popular to have various things stuck in the headphone jack. A, because it put your phone on silent without having to turn your phone on silent, and this was before there was a silent mode, but it would silent your phone, basically. And B, it was a way to put something cute on your phone. Think of all the different phone cases that are out there, those stupid pop things that go on the backs of your phones. There's little wallet things that stick onto the back of your phone. Like, your phone is your number one accessory these days. Like, who doesn't have a phone? It's not the same thing as a Stanley Cup, but you get my drift. And people are going to accessorize the thing that they're carrying around with them the most, right? When day planners were a thing, oh my god, the crap for day planners. Anyway, so this is not surprising. I just think some of it's weird. Like, why do you need an insulated wrap for your insulated cup? It shouldn't be sweating. The little rubber booty so that the cup doesn't scuff. Okay, I mean, go on. This tray thing, honestly, I think it's genius. If you're going to be working from home anyway. The only one of these that I think is actually practical is the little wallet thing that straps onto the cup anyway. You're going to be carrying the cup around. You might as well carry all your other stuff around with it too.
You can find them on Etsy. You cannot find them on the Stanley website. And they're cute and they're fun, and some of them are clever and functional. I'm just amazed at how people are now jumping to ride Stanley's coattails by creating and selling accessories for them. And that's not
I am not at all. Those are actually kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie.
necessarily a bad thing. I just think it's fascinating to see that Etsy creators will be like, all right, gang, Stanleys are in. You know what to do. Let's get with the program and create a line of accessories that people will go wild for. And we're going to make some money off of this whole Stanley thing, which, you know what? Great for them. Make that money. But now we're turning a $45 cup into what? A $75 cup, a $100 cup, depending on how many accessories you put on it. This kind of thing screams consumerism to the max. Like, not only are we paying $45 for the cup itself, but now we're paying extra by adding layers and layers of cutesy things to dress it up.
I mean, if I'm going to spend that much money on a collection of cups that I intend to use, like, they do seem to be using them at least. I'm not going to lie, that little insert thing that went across the top with the little heart cake on it. I mean, that's cute. You put the right thing on that, and I'm going to be like, yep, I need to have that. The little things that go on top of your straws, just because I fucking hate straws. I mean, it's cute. You make it in the right shape, I'm going to buy it, you know? The idea of having that little, like, strap on the cup, I think that's, if you're going to carry one of these stupid things around, I mean, you get that, and you get the little purse attachment thing, and you've basically turned your cup into your purse, right? And these are all other people making this stuff. So they're people that carry these cups or have carried these cups, and they're like, you know what would be really nice is if I had a strap so I could carry this like a purse. It would make it more convenient to carry this cup around. Or, you know, it'd be really nice is if I could cap off the straw so if it does tip over, it doesn't leak out the straw, you know, or I just don't want crap getting onto the straw where my mouth is going to go, kind of a thing. It's just, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. To be fair, the cup is not a necessity, but once you have the cup, you do tend to have new necessities for it.
Really seen influencers create content called Pack My Stanley to go out for the day, where they're dressing up their water bottle like it's a Barbie doll. Now we're accessorizing the accessory, and not only are you getting yourself dressed, but now your water bottle needs an outfit. Like, what is going on? Where does it end?
My water bottle needs an outfit. And it needs to be a tutu.
And I also just worry about how much waste this is creating when Stanley inevitably goes out of style in a couple years. All of this stuff is going to be ending up in a thrift store or a landfill somewhere. It's one thing if you buy a Stanley and use it for a decade. It's another thing if you have a collection of 30 Stanleys with all of these accessories that you're going to throw out in a couple of years and push to the wayside when the next cute cup comes out. It's so expensive. It's so wasteful. Speaking of riding the Stanley coat.
Yes, but style and fashion and trend does not care about sustainability.
This is an ad that I got on my Instagram for an Itsy Ritzy diaper bag. They're advertising the diaper bag by showcasing that it can fit your Stanley cup. That's the whole ad.
I'm so sorry about those pauses. If you know people are going to be carting around Stanley cups, and by people I mean women, and women are the ones typically responsible for taking care of the babies, so they're the ones usually carrying the baby bag. There you go. It's a selling point.
That's the entire purpose of it. Buy our diaper bag because it can fit this viral cup into it. Perfect example of how other companies are trying to capitalize on the craziness too.
I mean, if it can fit a Stanley cup, it can fit a regular bottle of water too. So even when the Stanley cup goes out of fashion, you can still put a normal bottle of water there.
And can you blame them? Not really. And finally, I wanted to show you this scam email I got a few days ago because even internet scammers are trying to make some money off of people's obsession with Stanley. This is a scam email. It did not come from Target. It came from some weird alphabet soup email address, but they're trying to convince people that they've been selected to win one of these limited edition Valentine's Day Stanleys, and that all you have to do to claim it is click the link and give them all of your personal information. Great, seems legit. I mean, to me, as someone who gets like 50 scam emails
Somebody's gonna fall for that, though.
A day, this is very clearly not real, but who knows? Maybe somebody blinded by the Stanley craze and who really, really wants one of these cups and they couldn't get their hands.
Or it's like a kid. Again, going back to the kids. They all have email. Well, do they have emails? Do kids have emails these days? I remember when I got my first email. I was a teenager. But do kids do email these days? But I mean, this could easily be a text message. You text this to somebody's phone and they're one of these kids that desperately wants to have a Stanley Cup. And ooh, not only is it a Stanley Cup, but it's the Valentine's Day Stanley Cup. Again, this is... I feel like this is another place where the parents should be available. But if the parents fall for this, I mean, it looks, at first glance, very legit, yeah? Again, if you know what you're looking for, you know what a spam email looks like, or a scam looks like. If you don't, or if you desperately want this to be true, you're probably going to fall for it.
Hands on it, maybe they would fall for it. That's terrifying. Even scammers are seeing this as a window of opportunity for them. And the last section of this video, with everything being said about this craze, I'm wondering if the downfall of Stanley is upon us because apparently they contain lead. Articles about this news have been coming out just within the past few days at the time of filming this video, so we don't know much. But what we do know is that very recently there's been a wave of people on social media kind of catching wind that Stanleys might have lead in them. And so what people are doing is they're ordering their own at-home lead test kits and they're videotaping themselves swabbing their Stanleys and posting it on TikTok. Here's a Facebook post of somebody showing that the swab came back positive for lead when she swabbed her Stanley cup, but not on her Arctic or Yeti. She says that she swabbed.
So I've got an article from Wired here. I don't have a reason not to trust Wired. I've got an article here from Wired. I will post the link to it because I'm having a hard time pulling it up on the screen and I don't want to screw with it. But there's a quote here that says from Stanley, "Our manufacturing process currently employs the use of an industry standard pellet to seal the vacuum insulation at the base of our products. The sealing material includes some lead. Once sealed, the area is covered with a durable stainless steel layer, making it inaccessible to consumers. Rest assured that no lead is present on the surface of any Stanley product that comes in contact with the consumer, nor the contents of the product. In the rare occurrence the base cap of a product comes off due to ordinary use and exposes its seal, it is eligible for a lifetime warranty." But yet, she showed us several people who were showing their at-home lead tests, and they were coming back positive. So if the lead isn't coming in contact with any of the surfaces, then swabbing the inside of the cup should not produce a positive lead test, right? Which means the lead is inside the cup, else it wouldn't come out. That or everyone's lying. They did say, though, that it is an industry standard. But Wire says, what do other brands use? Lead soldering is low cost and easy to use and is a commonplace practice for a variety of manufacturers. However, alternative methods are available. There's a brand called Owala. They don't use lead. Hydroflax does not use lead. Clean Canteen, never heard of them, don't use lead. Sig, no lead. MIIR, no lead. Life Straw, no lead. Yeti, lead used. Is a popular outdoor gear manufacturer. While it has not responded to multiple requests for comment, the company's FAQ section, on its website says Yeti Rambler drinkware uses a sealing pellet with a lead soldering process. Life Straw does use lead. MIIR does use lead. So, though there are a good number of companies that don't use lead, the more popular brands seem to do that, like Yeti, and I've heard of Life Straw. So wait, Life Straw, oh, it's the water bottle. I don't have the filtered water bottle. I use I was like, Life Straw, wait a minute. I have a Life Straw, but it's the literal straw, it's not the bottle. You know. But if it had, if the lead wasn't getting inside the cup, then how is it coming back positive? The Yeti's not. I don't know what this is, but they use the same standard. They use the same process as Yeti and everybody else. Like, it's an industry standard. So why is the lead getting into the Stanley cups but not in the Yeti or the other one? Because the Yeti has lead. Anyway. Questions?
Swabbed inside of the cup where the liquid goes, and it came back positive. However, on the flip side of that, all of the TikTok videos I saw of people filming themselves using the swabs, they all came out negative. Granted, I only watched like 20 TikTok videos. I didn't spend that much time digging, and there might be,
I don't know, out of 20, that's pretty good for a sample, I suppose. I mean, again, TikTok's massive, but you watch 20 different people try to take a sample of their cups, and none of them came back positive when they did it. Probably it's not that many cups that are coming back positive. So probably the cups are fine.
more videos that come out in the future, but it seems like right now, the overwhelming majority of people are getting negative test swabs for lead. But this has kind of drummed up enough controversy that it's getting Stanley's attention. The company released a statement saying that there is one lead pellet in the bottom side of
Right, here's where the influencer influence is going to come in. Like she said, she watched 20 different videos of influencers swabbing their Stanleys to see if they could come up with a positive lead test. And none of them did, right? So you've got, I don't know where this original, so you've got this original post, I don't know where it came from, of somebody being like, I swabbed my Stanley cup and it came back positive for lead. But no one's been able to replicate that. So you've got the original post, which has influenced people who have a Stanley cup to freak out because lead is not cool. And so now all of those people are testing their Stanley products. If you have the same influencers that are encouraging people to buy Stanley cups, testing their cups and going, see, there's no lead, it's going to backfire on that original article that's like, oh, I got a positive test. There's still going to be some people who are going to be like, ugh. well, there's lead. But there's enough people who are testing these, showing that they're not testing positive for lead, and who are still continuing to use and collect the Stanley Cups. It's going to calm everybody else down, and those people are still going to, you know, keep calm and carry on and still continue to collect Stanley Cups. I don't think this lead thing's going to be that big of a problem, especially since it's an industry standard, and the other big brands also use it. Stanley can always point to the other brands and be like, well, I mean, what are you going to do? Go use a Yeti? Yeti uses lead. You going to go use LifeStraw? LifeStraw uses lead. I forget the other brand. Thermos probably does too, because it's as old as sin as well. So just that kind of a thing.
Of the cup. But quote, please rest assured that no lead is present on the surface of any Stanley product that comes in contact with you or the contents of your container. The only risk of lead exposure would come from the bottom of the flask being damaged and coming in contact with skin. So here's what the bottom of the cup should look like, and here's what it looks like when it's damaged and the lead pellet is exposed. There's this little round disc on the bottom of the cup, and if it pops off, then there's lead right there for you to have access to. This is a video of somebody swabbing the inside of her cup and she got a negative result, but then when she swabs the bottom of her damaged cup, it does come back positive. Unsurprisingly, the company has said, yep, there's lead there. So I just felt like I couldn't end this video without adding in this lead info because it's still a little murky to me as to whether or not these cups are safe to be using. So we'll continue.
I mean, unless you're in the habit of licking the bottom of your cup, but Stanley did say if that pops off, you have a lifetime warranty, so you can send it back and they'll send you a new cup or they'll fix it. And secondly, I think if that pops off and you're exposing that lead anyway, I think that's gonna compromise the seal on the cup to begin with, and the cup's gonna quit working or not work as well. So, you know, if you've got a Stanley cup and the bottom popped off, or if you've got one of these kind of cups and the bottom popped off, Yeti does lifetime warranty too. Just send your cup back and get a new one. Because, I mean, it's still lead, but there's no way it's going to get... And there's no way it's getting from the bottom all the way into the top. Because that's sealed. There's no way for it to get up there unless you're drilling through the cup to get to it. And then that's on you, man.
Continue to keep an eye on it and see if anything comes of it. Some people are getting positive lead results. Most people aren't. The company says it's fine, but now consumers are concerned. Is the company's statement trustworthy? Are these people on social media testing their cups trustworthy? At this point, I feel like it's kind of a developing story. So if you do own a Stanley, you might want to keep up with the latest news about this lead poisoning thing because that is a serious concern. The company is...
If you're worried about the lead thing, this video came out in February. The Wired article that I said I was going to share, I need to go look up again. It's recent. This thing pretty much blew over. I mean, it's October now. This thing pretty much blew over. Are people still clamoring for Stanley Cups? I don't know because I don't follow it that closely, but probably. Probably we've got another year of Stanley Cups.
Saying this is very industry standard to be using lead in their vacuum sealing process to like seal up that hole down there. But I've also seen a lot of people on social media being like, oh my gosh, I looked at the bottom of my cup and that disc popped off. So I'm also getting the impression that with general wear and tear, that disc might pop off and maybe you don't even know it did, or you don't even know that that's lead under there. With a quick Google search, I was wondering about the Yeti that I have and if that contains lead, and yes, it also does. It's an industry standard. A lot of companies with insulated water bottles do use lead. But what's interesting is like, I don't really feel like you could access it in any way. Like this entire piece would have to come off of the bottle. There's not a little opening right here that it could easily fall off. Like your entire cup would have to fall apart basically. So
I think it was only one particular line of Yeti that used the lead pellet, and I'm pretty sure the Stanley Quenchers are the only ones that are using the lead pellet. So it's not every product within those two companies that are using lead.
It'll be really interesting to see if people are catching wind of this lead news, what they're going to do about it. Maybe they're going to ditch their Stanleys. Maybe they're going to go and find something else that is safer for them to use. Absolutely something to keep our eye on. And with that, my friend,
if the influencers are getting money to influence, as long as there's money, they'll be influencing. I don't for a minute believe any of them are going to be like, oh no, you guys, no. I mean, there's probably one or two that's just be like, nope, there's lead, can't do anything for you. I'm not gonna promote Stanley anymore. There's probably one or two. I think the most of them are going to be like, yes, Stanley's fine. Look at my collection of Stanleys. And as long as there's enough popular people doing that, Stanley's going to stay in the limelight for the time being, right? All right, if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and put a cup, your choice, down in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think. Do you have a Stanley? Do you have a Yeti? Do you have anything like this? Do you just drink from a cup when you're at home? let me know down in the comment section down below. If you guys are liking this series of the influencer stuff, let me know. I think I'm going to do one more, like her episode 3. I think I'm going to do that. And then I think I want to do like a deeper analysis on it. We'll see how we go. Those do take me some time, so we'll see. But yeah, if you guys are liking this series, let me know down in the comment section. I'm going to keep doing them for a little while until people are like, no, God, please stop. So we'll do that. And yeah, thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And that's all I've got for you guys. So I will see you all in the next one. Bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.